Hello, my little maggots, worms, and flies, and I'm Ghost, your host with the most for the next, 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. We'll see. I always like, disturbing media. I consume a lot of it. I just find it interesting. You know? It's fun. But one little corner of disturbing media that's never really discussed is disturbing animation. So I compiled a list of a few little things that I think you might find interesting. That I quite enjoy, at least some. This is disturbing / absurd. It's all uncomfortable, really. That's, at its core, all three that I'm going to discuss are quite uncomfortable. But, I hope you enjoy, and let's just jump right in with everybody's favorite rust kinky motherfucker. Newgrounds is known for giving birth to such iconic animations as the old-ass Lemon Demon's Ultimate Showdown music video, or Madness Combat, the Badger music video, or also stuff like games such as Riddle School and Pico's School. But also, one of the most famous animators to come from Newgrounds was David Firth. David Firth is known for kind of creating just really, really uncomfortable animations, and he's really, really famous. He is one of the Newgrounds animators. Chances are, if you were ever on Newgrounds, you know Salad Fingers. Salad Fingers is Firth's most popular work, and it's probably my favorite of his works. It has this very, very specific vibe to it. And I really quite enjoy Salad Fingers. It has a really, really dark, kind of off sense of humor, but it also is just so unbelievably uncomfortable. And it's also really, really satisfying seeing the evolution of the animation. So you start off with the first one, called Spoons, where, you know, he kind of just rubs his rusty spoons, looks for some other rusty shit. And it's very weird. And it's charming, but it's nothing too technically impressive. But as you go on, you get to stuff like The Glass Brother, which is genuinely, to me at least, fantastic. It tells its story well. It doesn't let go of the weird feeling of old stuff. Even though it's evolved, it doesn't not have the feeling that the old ones did. It just has an extra level of polish. Its story is told better, and it genuinely is, like, really gripping. I really quite like Salad Fingers. Seeing its evolution is really, really interesting. And just anything Firth really touches is really fun. But I'll really quickly give you a rundown of what Salad Fingers is about, and who should watch it. So basically, Salad Fingers takes place in a post-apocalyptic world with some of the most crisp-ass, freaky motherfucking sound design ever, and Boards of Canada music playing in the background. But, it essentially follows this man/woman, probably woman, maybe man, it's not really 100% confirmed, I don't believe, in a post-apocalyptic world, kind of just going about their life, doing their thing. You might have seen Matt Pat's theories on it. They're not true. Firth doesn't have any beef with Matt Pat, but, you know, he did say, like, yeah, no, cool theory, but no. He has said that he's kind of very open to different people's interpretations, though it's not really what he doesn't go in with one specific interpretation, though he said that that's not really ever what he's had in mind when discussing Matt Pat's theory. While we don't really know everything about the world, we do know that Salad Fingers is dead and had a new Salad Fingers. So that was in the most recent episode. But also that the world is, in fact, a post-apocalyptic world. It takes place in some version of our world, as they constantly reference the Great War, and when their brother served in the Great War. And nobody talks, really, besides Salad Fingers, the Glass Brother, and a couple other little characters. Nobody talks. Salad Fingers is British as fuck. Not just the character. I mean, just everything about Salad Fingers is super British. Firth is British, so it makes sense. But just a fun little fact, if you really like weird British comedy-ish stuff, Salad Fingers is very much for you. And if you like absurdist horror, Salad Fingers is peak absurdist horror. And if you like weird old Newgrounds animations and you somehow haven't already seen Salad Fingers, you absolutely need to watch it. Salad Fingers is not only an absolute classic and essential of absurdist horror and horror animation, but one of my personal favorites, as much of a normie as that makes me. Next up, we have one of the most absolutely mind-bogglingly uncomfortable and genuinely reprehensible pieces of garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. Yet it's still something that I really, really want to talk about because holy shit. This is Striking Daughter, or Sayori. Striking Daughter is a 2003 short film directed by Takashi Kimura. And, well, it's 4 minutes long, and it's definitely something. Editor God, please do just play, like, the slightest excerpt of it, and I will make it a random excerpt. I'll have him skip to a random point.
2 strike.
You don't need to see what's before it, and you don't need to see what's after, because it's basically entirely like this. Isn't that wonderful? Basically, Striking Daughter is about this Sayori girl who's told, like, by her family, like, hey, I think it's time to strike. And then they spank some naked, kinky dude. Honestly, can't tell if it was made as horror-ish stuff or just weird stuff. I can't tell if it's horror, but it's definitely uncomfortable and unsettling. What I said in my Letterboxd review when I first watched it with a friend of mine was basically that it feels... So, I guess, just really quickly, even though this is a vastly different thing, let's take August Underground, for example. When you're watching it, it feels like you shouldn't be. But it works for that. It's in a cool way. When watching Striking Daughter, it feels like you shouldn't be watching it. But not in a cool way. Just in the way of, like, I'm not gonna get these handful of minutes back. Which is something I don't usually get when people say, I know that it's exaggeration usually, but the whole, like, well, I'm not gonna get that hour back of my life stuff always really bothered me, because I feel like even watching something terrible has some sort of value. The only good thing that's coming out of this, for me at least, is being able to make content out of it, because genuinely feel like I wasted those 4 minutes of my life. It felt like I could have done so many other things that could have been more interesting or better, but no, I decided to waste my time watching this reprehensible piece of garbage. Now, before we get into the final section, the final little thing we're going to talk about, I'd like to briefly have an ad break, so, I'll see you in just a moment.
Man, I wish all my friends didn't die of leprosy. Who am I gonna call now?
Can't call anybody? Then you should try the new Disney phone. You can call all your favorite Disney characters.
Really? Oh my god! It's the Disney phone! Hey Goofy, are we best friends?
We're gonna be best friends forever.
Aw, thanks. Hey Mickey, if Goofy's a dog and Pluto's also a dog, does that mean Pluto's a slave?
What? Never call this number again.
Hey Hades! Bad reception. Hey Donald, when am I gonna get married?
Kill your family.
What?
Kill your family.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Do it. Do it! Do it! Do it!
No!
Do it! Disney phone. Only available at Walmart right now.
Well, wasn't that ad fantastic? Hi, I'm back. Sorry, I had to take advantage of the ad break to give myself a quick breather after talking about the absolutely disgusting garbage that was Striking Daughter. But now we get to move on to something that I find a little bit more entertaining, at least. And, well, I certainly enjoy it more. Lloyd's lunchbox. Coming off of the little 18-plus weird, nasty, gross-out comedy release, Spike and Mike Sick and Twisted, came Lloyd's Lunchbox. The Lloyd's Lunchbox series is a Gregory Eckman animated little short series. Each individual installment only lasted a couple minutes, and there were 4. I unfortunately was not able to find the 4th personally because I don't own the DVD, but I found the first few on YouTube, so that's what I'll be working off of. So essentially, Lloyd's Lunchbox, I guess my best way of describing it to you is essentially if Garbage Pail Kids had a short animated series made by like a 20-year-old edgelord. Not that I know really anything about Gregory Eckman. I don't know what age he was when he made these or what. There's no information on Letterboxd about him. Gregory Eckman's Lloyd's Lunchbox series, though, is something that I had a lot of fun with, to be honest. It's just really, really unbelievably weird and just stupid and mind-numbingly gross for no reason. But it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's a little time capsule of, well, 90s animation and 90s humor that I can't help but find myself kind of engrossed by. While I can't claim that it's some sort of fucking masterpiece, Lloyd's Lunchbox is something that I don't think I'll forget anytime soon. And I do think that's worth something. Essentially, what happens in each installment of Lloyd's Lunchbox is, at least for the first 2, and then the 3rd one is just little separated stories, but we go through the days of the week and see Lloyd doing some sort of gross activity that day. And then the 3rd one is just little separate stories. There's no days of the week thing, if I recall. But it is, in fact, just little standalone things that he does. All of them are gross and usually involve him either sneezing or shitting his organs out, or doing some sort of weird over-the-top self-harm, like, you know, intentionally stepping on a nail and stepping on a dead rat and having all the gushiness just go up through the hole he stepped on, or he created by stepping on the nail. It's all very, very stupid, but it's really, really interesting. Lloyd's Lunchbox is genuinely, to me at least, worth checking out, and I can see myself revisiting them at some point with some of my friends. While they're far, far, far from masterpieces, and while I do have a lot of problems with gross-out humor nowadays, and I think it's never creative or interesting, Lloyd's Lunchbox did some pretty interesting stuff, and again, it's just a really, really cool time capsule of 90s humor and 90s animation. And I also just shout out to the sound design of Lloyd's Lunchbox, and like I said with Salad Fingers 2, both of them have really, really cool sound design that makes you feel like you're just like bathing in sewage or something. It's really fun. It has a very specific vibe, and I really like the vibe that both of them convey. Even though they're different, both of them convey their vibes very, very well. And even though I don't think that Lloyd's Lunchbox is going for like an atmospheric experience, it weirdly enough kind of is. Anyways, I do hope that you enjoyed my little video. I enjoyed making it, and I haven't even been able to scratch. I've barely scratched the surface of disturbing animation. I mean, there's so much more, from Midoriko to When the Wind Blows. There's so much, and if you like this, show this video some love, and maybe I'll make a sequel. I'm very, very open to it. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I just really, really enjoy disturbing animation. And there's so much more out there that I haven't been able to talk about, that both goes much more extreme or much more unusual. It's a really, really interesting scene that is small, and I think deserves more attention. Thank you for your time. I really do sincerely hope you had a good time, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.